everybody. How are ya? You're here. Guess what? So am I. What a coincidence. So you and I are here in the Digital Lounge, C&T Publishing's favorite place to be on Wednesday nights for Wednesday Night Live, our weekly webcast. I'm Lisa Fulmer, for those of you who might not know me. I'm the Education and Communications Manager at C&T Publishing. And every week we bring you all kinds of fun demos and exciting creative things to try. And tonight I have no special guests. C'est seulement moi. Le visage ici, c'est tout. It's only me. This is the only face you're going to get, people. So as our friend Andrea says, I'm going to hold this hour hostage. So thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, I have new ATC display trays back there, the 7 Gypsies trays. I'm so excited. Look how pretty. You can see them up close and personal on my blog. There's a picture. It's really, really fun. It really was enjoyable to pull out all my ATCs that I've collected and lay them out on the trays and get them up and all pretty like. So listen, I have so much fun stuff to share with you tonight. It's all about needle felting. Needle felting is just about the easiest craft that you can pick up and learn for very inexpensively, and it's so fast, and there's so many different things you can do with what you make. And I'm going to show you tons of ideas and several different techniques, and you're going to walk away just, wishing for wool, I'm telling you. Yeah, Jen, me too. It's so, oh, cool, Michelle. Very cool. Just don't go buying pounds and pounds of it. You only need ounces and ounces. So, hello, everybody who's just come in the room. Hello, hello, hello. And so let's get started, shall we? I want to show you, let's see. Let me show you first let me show you a little bit of eye candy. I have a few little slides of some needle felted things that I've made in the past that I've already given away. I don't have here in person, but it will kind of get you thinking about the things that you can do, and then we'll get into some techniques. And some of these techniques you may have already seen me demo on Cool to Craft last year. So I'm going to bring them out again and see if I can't add a few new twists. In fact, one of the twists that I have is Lutradur. Might it be? Might I have included Lutradur in a craft? OMG, I've never done that before. Way. So, yeah, no, I haven't quite figured out tap and wool together. That just doesn't feel right. But Lutradur is totally, totally awesome. So let me pull up a picture here. Hang on. Here's one. Bear with me here. Here is a notebook cover that I made. Easy peasy, rice and cheesy. It's just a piece of felt. It's a fun little whimsical flower with multiple colors, a few embroidery stitches. I added it to a piece of chipboard and bound up some pages with some hand-rolled paper beads. So using it as a panel for a decorative cover like this is a really great way to use needle felting. And I tell you, this took just moments to make. I probably made that panel in less than an hour. It's really, needle felting is so fast. Let me show you another. Here is a great idea. It's a little early in the year. Hope I haven't missed anything in the, oh my gosh, Jen, needle felting opossum. That is hilarious, Jen. That is hilarious. Let me tell you a story one of these days about how my cat chewed off my roommate's tail. She had short hair with a long braided tail that she had been growing out for many, many, many years. And while she was sleeping, my cat went up to snuggle with her, chewed it right off. Yeah, not a happy day. Hilarious, though. Hilarious. Okay, so anyway, I don't know why that story made me think of the other story, but there it is. Stream of consciousness. All right, so this is a little early in the season, but look how fun it is for greeting cards. Is our Fabby in the room tonight? Is our London boy in the room? Anyway, here is an easy way to place needle felted panels on paper cardstock to make adorable greeting cards. And I'm going to show you how you can felt pieces of felt to themselves for fast, adorable, really bold and graphic Christmas cards or greeting cards. That's pretty cool, huh? And then let me just show you one other thing. This one, we'll also talk a little bit about dimensional needle felting. This little cupcake also has a funny little story. This is a combination of regular sewing, some glue, as well as some needle felting. And this little cupcake, I was actually just out of surgery on my foot when I made this little guy, and I was quite literally on drugs. I was so completely doped up on painkillers because my foot was hurting so badly after surgery. And I think I was high as a kite when I made this. And so I'm actually quite pleased with the design. That's a funny story because what's even funnier about it, hold on while I turn around and look for something. What's even funnier about it is that I turned it in and it turned out it made it on the cover of this book. So this is a really adorable little book by C&T Publishing called Cupcakes, and there's a million different cupcake patterns for knitting, sewing, paper crafts, and needle felting in this book, and three of my designs are in this book and full instructions. It's just adorable. It's a really fun thing. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how to make a dimensional needle felted project as well. So we're going to go flat, we're going to go dimensional, we're going to work with yarn, we're going to work with roving. So let's dig into just a few of the parts for those of you who may be new to needle felting. It is so, thanks Melissa, just painkillers, post-surgical painkillers for a busted foot. I don't even remember what it was. But I was laid up in a recliner for several weeks, and so needle felting was my craft of choice because it was really easy and portable and perfect for a short attention span and perfect to take my mind off the pain. So anyway, enough about me. So needle felting, here are the supplies that you need. Needle felting is I'm talking about the dry process with a needle. I'm not talking about wet felting right now. That's a whole different process. Needle felting begins with a needle, people. It is a very thin, very skinny needle that has, on the very end here, it's barbed. And that little barb, it's practically microscopic, is what locks fibers together. You need a foundation. No, Leslie, you don't have to be scared of needles. You need a foundation. I love to needle felt onto wool felt. The acrylic or the synthetic felts work as well, but wool is particularly soft and just the right texture to lock the fibers in. So as a foundation, wool felt is great. You can also needle felt onto Lutradur, which I'll show you in a minute. You can needle felt onto foam. You can needle felt onto Timtex, like this interfacing, the thick interfacing. So there's lots of surfaces that will accept those fibers when you poke them down with the needle and lock them into place. So we'll get there in a minute. The other supplies you need is something to punch into. Clover makes this wonderful needle felting brush in a couple different sizes. This is the small one. And this gives you plenty of a nice firm surface to be punching the needle down into safely. These are not terribly expensive. Clover also makes a needle punch apparatus that allows you to load in 5 needles, I'm trying to get it against where you can see, 5 different needles, and it allows you to needle felt a larger surface area. You can also get needle felting attachments or feet. Oh, thanks, Michelle. You can also get needle felting attachments or feet for your sewing machine. Many sewing machine manufacturers make a needle felting foot that you can put on. There's also needle felting machines that allow you to felt really large surface areas all at the same time for a faster, because needle felting can be a little bit time consuming or tedious if you're needle felting a very large surface area. So but those are pretty cool too. Then you need roving. Are you with me so far? Roving. Roving is generally made from wool, but it can also be made from combinations of wool and silk or all silk. So you can get roving in just a nice, simple wool that's been dyed into a color. It's nice and smooth like this. Red Rover, send Robbie over. Roving is the term for wool that has been taken off of the sheep, and it has been treated and cleaned and carded. It's a carding process that smooths it all out, and you buy it in a nice little lump like this. So you can also get hand-dyed wool, like this variegated wool that has been dyed lovingly by hand. That's really fun to work with, and I'll be working with this tonight. You can also get wool that's quite au naturel, that's still like curly and undyed right off of that sheep. You can get this really lovely natural wool that gives a really great texture. You can get wool yarn like this that's really thick and nappy, and this is a blend of merino wool and silk, 70-30, and it's delicious. It's so soft and so fun to play with and pull apart, and it's great for needle felting. You can also get pure silk roving, and that's especially nice if you have a wool allergy, which quite honestly, let's see, let me answer a question here. What are we talking about? Oh, needle felting with dryer lint. Yeah, dryer lint makes a very lovely upcycled roving. Sure thing. Oh, Angora. No, it does not smell sheepy, Brenda. And no, it's not delicious like that. But the silk roving is really great if you have a slight allergy to wool, and that's where silk on Lutradur, fabulous. And I actually do have a tiny allergy to wool, and if I've been working around it for a long time, I will start to feel just a little bit itchy. So silk is a great alternative. You can also needle felt with lovely nappy yarn. You can just get yarn that's really nappy and thick, or even thin yarn is great, and we'll work with that tonight as well. So that is the supply list, and you can get this stuff in your craft store chains. You can get them online, and I always like to shop for needle felting supplies at knitting stores and at knitting shows, expos, and also Pippi, that's funny. Also at quilt shows. There's usually a few vendors that have wool supplies. So needle felting is the bomb diggity. If you don't have one of these handy dandy brushes, you can use a dense piece of upholstery foam to act as your base for punching into. And it's not quite as sturdy and firm as the brush, but you can get a much larger piece and do that. Okay, so where shall we begin? Let's begin with how to create a design on your felt. So let me move down to Craft Cam. Bear with me a second. Who uses both sides of her brain? Who's multilingual? Who's impressive? All right, hold on a second. Let me get keyboard cam out of our way. Oh, thanks. Okay, here we go. Na. Craft cam. Look how slick that was. Let me see if I can't get a little extra light over here on the situation. All right, people, so let's begin with the brush. Let's begin with the needle punch. Let's begin with some light colored felt. And here's the deal, people. There's a couple different ways that you can create stencils and patterns to needle felt. You can also needle felt free form and just lay that roving down and start punching away. But I love to work with applique books in particular. This is a gorgeous applique book with designs that feature William Morris's designs, like his fabric and textile designs. And there's really fabulous applique patterns in the back, full-size applique patterns. And those can be really, really wonderful to use for needle felting. And the way that you would transfer an applique pattern like this leaf onto your felt is with silicone I pronounced it wrong. Silicone release paper. This stuff is fabulous. This is silicone release paper. That's what the label looks like. At any rate, it's a really nice non-stick paper that works really great as a rub-on transfer with a pencil. And so a really easy way to use this is to just take a pencil. I like to kind of use a dull point so that I don't tear the paper. And I'm just going to very quickly go around this design. All right. And I'm pushing fairly hard to get a nice dark line. Then I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to turn it over position it where I want it. I'm going to take the popsicle stick of choice, and I'm going to rub just like a transfer, you know, what are they called for scrapbooking? Dry transfer, rub-ons. Any questions while I'm doing the exciting part of the transfer here? Any particular pencil? No, actually, any writing utensil will work. You can. I like to just use a plain old #2 pencil so that I get a fairly light line, because I'm going to cover it with wool, but I don't want to go too dark. But like a Sharpie will work. And so you just kind of lift it up and boom. There, I got my image. It's nice and it's just the right amount of faint. If I had pressed harder or if I had been a little more careful, I could have gotten more. Cheryl, any of the books and products from C&T Publishing that I share tonight are all available, hopefully at your local quilt shop or your local craft store or your local art material store. However, if you cannot find them locally, I always want to encourage people to shop locally first. You can find them online at either Amazon or at ctpub.com. So I've created my pattern, and now I'm going to set it on my brush, and I'm going to get my little needle, and now I'm going to pick out some roving. And because this is a nice lovely fall leaf, not that it's fall time, it's springtime, I'm going to pluck out just a little bit of roving, multicolored. Less is more, okay? You don't need to, it is like cotton candy. You don't need to start with very much. Always start with just a little and then build it up from there. And you'll find that as you're punching, some of the wool does disappear down under the surface, and I'll show you that in a second. But it's really, really easy to overdo it and then end up with a little more work on your hands. So because I have a pointed tip here, I'm just going to kind of point it like this. Now, I am not looking at the chat room, people, so do not expect answers to questions for the next few moments while I have a needle in my hand. Okay, so the trick is to just punch a few taps just to get it positioned right inside your line, okay? And you can just kind of use your fingers, or you can use a push pin. That's the other thing that I've done, is I've actually used a push pin to guide the fabric into a point and then punch it. Now, I'm using that multi-punch, but you can also use your single needle to fine-tune it. But as you can imagine, 5 needles in this punch can actually get a lot more done than a single needle. A single needle is really great to come in and just kind of maneuver your details, and a single needle is really great for the dimensional felting, which I'll show you in a minute. So you're just going to bend it around and just tap it down and make sure that you like where it is. If you've made a little mistake, you can just pull it right up, and then you'll anchor it down more securely a little later once you've got your shape done. Okay, so I think that's probably not too hard for you guys to figure out the concept. All right, and you're just going to go along and take little pinches, little strands, and once you've got it kind of into the basic shape that you want, then you can start anchoring. You know, you've got all of your roving laid down there. Then you can start anchoring it into place. So if I wanted to follow this line up through the center for that vein, and then you can kind of double it over on itself. And it's actually better to work with raw edges. Don't cut with scissors, because if you get that straight edge, it's harder to let those fibers naturally lock down into the wool. So you can see on the other side, you just, those fibers get punched right through, and as you anchor it, they kind of lock into place. But until you anchor it fully, it is pretty forgiving, and you can pull it up pretty quickly to reposition. So that's why it's just so easy, and it's also therapeutic. I am tired of my husband's crap. I am tired of my teenage daughter lying to me. Okay? So it's very therapeutic. I highly recommend it. And so when you are all said and done, through the magic of internet TV, dun, 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 look how pretty that is. So there is that leaf using just that one skein of hand-dyed variegated wool. And I got all the different colors, and it's so pretty. I've got a little thread hanging off here. And I used very, very little of the roving. It's very, very thin, and it's anchored down in there quite nicely. Then I took the yarn and went around the edge, and I made a little loopy and punched it extra tight. And look what a cute little hanging gewgaw that would be for your bulletin board, or without the little loopy, how cute that would be as an ornament. I mean, as a greeting card embellishment, or a panel for a handbag that you're going to make, or a panel for an art quilt. So there's just no limit to what you can do with these cute little panels. Now I wanted to also let you know how you can flat felt to itself. So like that Christmas card I showed you, here's the leaf. Let me pause for a minute. Did I miss any questions? I'm moving. Oh, the cookie cutter method. Yes, Jen, you can. They have these little cookie cutters, and you can use a regular cookie cutter, or you can use the ones that are made for needle felting and punch inside those. You can also use a regular stencil and lay a little wool down and use a single needle to punch inside and form that wool right inside these stencil shapes for when you want a more detailed image like that. So yeah, stenciling is a really fun way to do it too. At any rate, oh, and then the last thing is if you're working with darker felt and the transfer method with the silicone release paper is not going to work, you can get these little white sewing pencils and you can draw something freeform and create a little pattern for yourself and then go for it. Am I using a die cutter for this? No, I just cut this freehand. With felt, a regular die cutter probably wouldn't work. For paper, you would need to use the fabric die cutting system. But you can felt to itself. And so basically I've got, if I wanted to, I cut out this holly leaf and I have a little berry, and I'm just going to punch that right on. So you don't need glue, you don't need stitches, just a few punches and it's on, and you can see how the red locked through. So you don't have to just work with roving. You can work with flat surfaces, which is really great for card making and scrapbooking. So does the Cricut cut felt, Robbie? Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. You know, Melissa, I don't know what it is about holly leaves. I find them very enjoyable too. I like leaves in general. Leaves are just really, really fun images to work with. There's so many different shapes and they just make you feel good. I don't know why. So yeah, so felting onto felt is really great. Here's one where I took two shapes and felted them the same size together to get an extra thick embellishment. So that gives a lot of extra dimension. But, you know, again, it's really easy to just felt it to itself. And please, I know it's a no-brainer, and I'm sure it's completely obvious, goes without saying, and all that good stuff, but I'll tell you, do not get your fingers in the way, because this will just go right through, and you will be a sad puppy. So easy peasy to felt to itself. So here's a few ideas. Rebecca will recognize this. I did this on Rebecca Parsons' show not too long ago. This was just a really fun, easy way to make a kind of variegated, fluffy heart. You can also working with variegated yarn. You can actually, the really thick yarn, you can actually twist it as you go and create a really fun pattern like this. I just twisted it and just kept going inside and around, and I made this really nice little placard that I can use for a brooch or on a card or whatever. You can go a little more free form and make fun little placards and then cut around the edges so that your felt is a random shape, and this is just this kind of random image. Okay, now let me show you something else. Now, if there's any children in the room, this next picture I have to show you of a piece of art that I did is just the teensiest bit racy in a very artistic way. Hi, Sin, you want to see what closer? This guy? There's that one. You want to see the other guy? This was just a really thick yarn. The green on the outside is a different yarn, and then the multicolor on the inside is slightly thinner, but I twisted it as I went around. So basically I had a starting point, and you just kind of go and then double it back on itself, or go around and just keep tapping and just keep going around and around. So this next picture is a tiny bit racy, people, so cover the children's eyes, but it's really artistic and I was really pleased with it. You ready? You ready? Here you go. A little bit racy. Here you go. It's needle felting in the nude. So this was a really fun art piece. It's about 8.5 by 11, maybe 9 by 12. And I just did sort of this free-form nude, and it was really, really fun and really sculptural. And then I used some dimensional paint to go around the edges. And it was really, really fun to work with. And it was so, so easy. It was just so liberating to just be punching and creating shapes and trying to stay organic with it. So that's how easy that is. Here's another example of being a little bit more artistic. And so this is sort of an adaptation of a Monet painting of water lilies and pyracantha. And so this is just a flat piece that I could stretch and hang, or I could use it as a panel for an art quilt. And it was just really, really fast to just look at the picture and lay down the basic shapes and just start playing with it and punching and adding colors. And again, you just lift it off. If you don't like how it goes, you just lift it off and start over again until you anchor it down. So it's really forgiving. I just love that. And then here's another fun thing that I'll show you. This is what you can do with the yarn. Okay, so you can take this is one single strand of yarn. I'll hold it up a little closer. One single strand of yarn. And in fact, if you go to my YouTube channel, there's a funny little video of me looking at this piece and traveling the path of the continuous line with my finger. But at any rate, this is a fun art piece that's one single strand of yarn that I just started in the corner and just went a little crazy. I didn't copy anything. I was just doodling, basically. And then I added little embellishment stitches with embroidery floss, and then I added some charms, some little metal, little jewelry charms. And this hangs on my wall, and I really enjoy it. And it's just on a piece of, you can see my crappy stitching on the back. Exactly, Melissa, it is. You can really go all Zentangle on it. So it's really fun, and I'll show you just how easy that is. Hold on, let me switch gears here. Throwing everything on the floor, people, throwing it on the floor. All right, so I apologize that I haven't ironed this piece of felt, but it's so, you can look at a little doodle, or you can just kind of start. So, I'm just going to start. And I'm not going to anchor it down yet. I'm just going to allow myself to doodle with it. And I could even spell my name and wrap this piece of yarn around and make an L and an I and an S. Isn't that fun? Come on down. La la la. So you get the gist. I'm starting to spell Lisa. And let's see if I can do it upside down. Ha ha. Here, I'm not looking at the chat room, you guys. I'm concentrating. Oh my gosh, I so can't do it upside down. But there, Lise. So it's on there, and then once you've got it anchored down, once you've got it positioned, then you can punch it more and more and more and really kind of flatten it out and anchor it down. So the doodling thing is really, really fun and enjoyable. Okay, so any questions? What am I punching on? This piece right here, Melissa, is just a piece of upholstery foam that I got, at the craft store. And it's a really nice solid surface for a bigger piece. These brushes only come in like 2 sizes, this size and one that's maybe this big. And the brushes are great because they're really sturdy. Thanks, Michelle. But this is really inexpensive and easy as well. Just make sure you get it really firm. So if there's no other questions about the flat, Rebecca, you are stuttering. If there's no other questions about the flat, yeah, Melissa, my room is a little bit of a hoarding. Ooh, I have to show you this little brooch. Whoopsie, I froze up. Did I freeze up? I have to show you this little brooch that my friend made, Lorraine, in Liverpool. And this is just a little square piece of felt, and she put the pin on the back, and she needle felted that really fun sort of purpley green texture, and then she added some stitches and some beading, and it made this adorable brooch. Isn't that pretty? It's so, and it's just, it was so easy. The other thing that I've demoed before that you can see, I won't demo it now, but you can see it on my website, is I've demoed these millefiori kind of beads, and it's a process of rolling like a big cigar, a few colors of roving together, and then needle felting the heck out of it until it's really solid, and then slicing it up into little discs, and you get these little circular beads. And Michelle will recognize these. I believe you have a bracelet that I made you, huh? So these are really fun beads that you can do with the needle felting. A lot of people make beads with a wet felting method, and that's fun too. Okay, so people, now let me show you the dimensional. So the trick to a dimensional little cupcake like this, Leslie, felting supplies at Hobby Lobby? I would think so. You know, I don't have a Hobby Lobby in my little town. Thea, I just cut the little cigar rolls with scissor. If you you'll see it if you go to my blog. It's lisalizalou.blogspot.com. You'll see my tutorial video that I did for Cool to Craft. So yeah, I would assume so. At Joann's, my local Joann's, they have back by the yarn and the knitting supplies, they have a little needle felting section. Clover is a really great website, and some of the sites that my friend Michelle has been putting in are really great. So the trick to a dimensional cupcake like this is a Nerf ball, people. A Nerf ball. One of those, this is a cheap slice of a football that was like an ad promo for some copier store. But this particular density of foam, like the Nerf balls, is perfect. It's a perfect foundation. So that's what's inside this. I took a small, like a baseball-sized Nerf ball. I cut it in half for the top, and then I trimmed down the other half to create the base. There is a skewer up through the center of this. I won't go into great detail because guess what? You guys can get the book and learn yourself. But it was so easy to lay the wool down. Sorry, you guys, I keep freezing. It's so fun to just take your shape of this foam and just lay some wool on top of it and punch right into it. And you just keep punching and keep punching and keep punching, and then you can fine tune it, you know, as you go. And so that's what I did here, is I just punched like crazy to get this really soft brown wool. Look how nice and soft that looks. And then I took some red wool and I strung it out, and I created my little icing. Those are just little straight pins, little pearl-headed straight pins. Jen, yes, absolutely. During Linky Love, can you do it during Linky Love? Towards the end, that would be great. And then for this puffy heart, that's where you just don't, I put a huge bunch and then only punch it down a little bit. So to get that real dimensional, can you see how dimensional that heart, that puffy heart is? You just want to use a lot of wool and only really punch it down around the edges. And that's where this single needle really comes in handy to really fine tune your edges and get a nice shape. Okay, so that is how it's really pretty easy. Now the difficult dimensional needle felting, which I am still learning, is the puppy dogs. Oh my gosh, the puppy dogs. There's a big old black poodle. Look at him. Big old black poodle with the really fun textural yarn. And look at this little boy right here. Look at this little boy. All I did with this one, I didn't make these. Our author made these, but except I made the little beaded collar. Okay, so here's a little hint about prize time, people. Look at his little tail. Here's a little hint about prize time. We have a book, and it is called Fleece Dog. Hold on. Fleece Dog. This author is from Japan, and in this book you will learn how to make all these different breeds of doggies. The front part is all the eye candy with all the different breeds, and the back part has all the instructions. So tonight's prize, look at how cute these little guys are, and how realistic are they. Tonight's prize is going to be a copy of this book along with a kit. The kit has everything you need. It has exactly the right amount of wool. It has the little eyeballs on a little pins. It has the wire and the cording to create your armature and all the instructions for how to make it. And I'll tell you, I haven't personally made one, but when we first got this book in, it's a little bit of an older book. When we first got this book in, we had a craft camp at work. Yes, Michelle, we have them. And it's an older book, so you probably won't find it in your local shops. You'll probably have to find it online at either Amazon or at our site. But what was really fun is that the employees at C&T, we have craft camp twice a year where we go into our books and we kind of learn how to make certain projects, and we get to take a little time away from the computers and have some fun. So there was about 7 or 8 people that made one of these dogs for the very first time, and it took them about 3 hours on the average, maybe 4 at the most. And they had so much fun, and all their dogs turned out so cute. So cute. So this book is an awesome book, and you'll have your choice. I've got like 4 different dogs to choose from in the kits. I got a Dachshund, I got a Chihuahua. You can get the kit for the Chihuahua, otherwise known as the Chihuahua. The Shiba. I've got a kit for the Shiba. Or I've got a kit for the Schnauzer, the miniature Schnauzer. So you've got some choices if you win the prize. Yay! Okay, so what else do I have to tell you? Oh, I wanted to show you, do I have anything else to show you? Oh, I wanted to show you another really great needle felting project that will inspire you to hang on to your old wool sweaters, people. Poodle says hang on to your old wool sweaters. Here you go. Here's a picture. This is Creative Troop. Yes, Leslie. The answer is yes, my darling. This is a pillow that I made from a friend of mine's. Her husband's sweater got tossed in the laundry by mistake, got a little bit felted, got a little bit shrunk, had a little bit of moth holes in there. That pillow is about maybe 15 inches long and about 8 inches tall, and maybe 6 inches fat. Okay, well, we Sin, if that happens, we might put a limit on there. At any rate, this was really fun. Now let me show you a detail shot. It was so easy to use yarn and felt and roving to create these little azaleas, and as a pattern I used a piece of clip art from Dover Publications, and that kind of gave me the scroll pattern idea, and then I kind of did a little winging it from there. So this was really fun, really easy. I added some embroidery stitches, I used yarn, I used some flat felt, and then I used the roving. And this pillow sits on my mom's sofa, and it's quite sturdy and lovely. So I encourage you to think about saving your wool sweaters. Now, before I start prize time, if I missed any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace, or just wait until Leslie screams at me in all caps. And by the way, people, typing in all caps is actually quite helpful for those of you who are still thinking that typing in caps is rude email etiquette. It's actually perfect in this webcast because it's really easy to see the questions as the chat is scrolling. So Miss Leslie Ray is my little capitalization queen, and she helps me a lot. So is there glue? Nope, there's no glue, baby. No glue. It's all just the needle and just anchoring it down. And on that pillow, I sit on it and lean against it all the time when I'm at my mother's house on the couch, and you really have to pull at it really hard to, hey Andrea, I didn't see you. It won't fall apart. I tell you what, it won't fall apart. So save your sweaters. They make a great foundation to needle felt onto. So this is Lutradur, people. Marion, most yarns will work. Yes, most yarns will be fine. It doesn't have to be wool. It just has to be a little bit on the nappy side. Some of the thinner yarns, or some of the yarns that are a little bit more ribbony. Hi, Cliff. It might not work as well. So I just love all you guys with your handles, with your fun names. I just love it. So here's a piece of Lutradur, people. Oh yeah, the fibers do tangle together, which can be kind of fun. It also can be a little bit unpredictable. So the Lutradur is here, and I just want to show you how much fun that is because this is really great. My friend Susie Blue, the mixed media artist, uses the Lutradur to needle felt in her mermaid class in her journaling. And so with the blue in mind, I'm taking this wonderful silk wool roving blend, and I'm just going to stretch it apart rather randomly. And I'm just gonna kind of do this and create an interesting background, and I'm going to tap it down. I'm not going to go crazy, but I can just tap that down, and I can come in with another color, and I can create gorgeous, gorgeous backgrounds on Lutradur and create scenery, little seascape, little Zentangle action, whatever you want. And the Lutradur locks the fibers in because of the, can you see the fibers poking up there? It locks those fibers in, and it's a little bit easier to pull out. So if you wanted to, you could run on the back side just a thin coat of medium to kind of secure those fibers on the back side. Are you talking about the punch, the noise? Yes, earlier I was talking about how therapeutic it is. So yeah, if someone's driving you crazy, you'll definitely get your aggressions out right here. So anyway, Lutradur is a great surface to needle punch in and create beautiful backgrounds that will be perfect for ATCs. Then you could like do some fun heat carving or heat distressing with the Lutradur. You could stitch this into an art quilt, a piece of fiber art. So it's just, there's just no end to how fun it is to work with different kinds of roving and different kinds of surfaces.